first impressions, Mickey. I would like him to, since he's our special guest, I would like him to start off.
Go for it.
So about the anime, it was good, but then I feel like it could have been way better because like the lore was little. The lore was I didn't find the lore that great, and I thought they'll get more characters like Dota. The most famous character of Dota is the one which Bru hates the most, which is Pudge. It's one of the most famous characters of Dota, which it actually is. We have a plushie and the plushie, and they didn't get Pudge for some reason, which I found very weird. But they got Invoker, but, but they got Invoker, which was fine. But overall, I think I'll give it a, you can say, 8 out of 10. Like because the game the game is something I love a lot, because of which I love the anime so much. So I think
Resident
pretty
Dota
much
player approves.
yeah, Dota player
Resident
does approve.
Dota Pro approves. Mickey
Yeah.
is going to be the first Indian pro player who comes from India and is an American born.
Team TND.
Yes, team.
Yeah.
Do not say that name. You
Do
have
not
brought
take
shame
that name in
upon it.
vain.
Anyway, yes, as you can hear from the
Yeah.
person who actively plays Dota, he really liked it. He wanted more heroes in, which is obviously something that I think all fans wanted. They wanted
Yeah.
more heroes
Yeah.
to be
Like, it was
included
too less.
in the anime.
But it's just
at the
book
same
one,
time-
right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, we
what-
have to
so-
understand. It's just book one, and there's only so much they can cram into what 6 hours of not
4
even 6
hours,
hours, sorry,
barely.
4 hours of
Yeah,
content.
there's only so
it's like
much.
it's like
Yeah.
one long movie. You can't really cram in too much. Especially with something as complicated as Dota, but seeing how they have book one and seeing how Dota is so vast, we could even have a book 30 and still have fresh
Yeah.
stories going
Yeah,
on. So I
exactly.
think that's something that's hopeful for the future. But actually, Sid, in complete contrast to what Mickey just said, why don't you tell us what you thought? Because I think that's what's going to set the tone for the rest of the conversation.
Before Sid explains it. Sid gives his own opinion. Can you explain the setting of Dragon's Blood to the viewers out there, for anyone who hasn't watched probably?
Okay, the setting of the show is basically Davion, the Dragon Knight, who is hunting dragons, meets Mirana, Princess of the Moon, who's hunting for someone who stole something of her goddess Selemene. And Selemene is the goddess of the moon. Now, this is the main story. These are the characters that the story revolves around, and it follows their journey towards the Invoker, the most powerful mortal mage, and who elongates his life with his own spells, and he basically is the strongest out there. He's a magician, he's a mage, he's a sorcerer, he is the Invoker. And these are the three focal characters here, except for one demon, Terrorblade, who is out to destroy the world and remake it in his own imagination. Imagine Thanos, but more demony and less outer spacey.
Yeah.
Like way OP. They made tablet
Yeah,
too OP in the anime. It feels like.
Disclaimer to anyone who's watching: if you have to understand the lore for this episode, then you can either do it by downloading the game and reading the biographies for each hero, or the heroes shown in the anime, or you can just look them up on the Dota 2 website, and you can kind of
Or-
read
Look them up on the Dota
because-
2 site, or you can play the game. That way you will definitely learn all about them.
Or you can watch the YouTube series Loregasm by Sir Action Slacks.
Yes,
Who is also been approved by Netflix.
We aren't like, shh, we're trying to be
Hey,
sponsored by Valve here. not
He's a
Action
boy.
Slacks.
He's a boy.
He's a
And I will
He's a
shout
boy.
him out. Speaking to the...
But yeah,
Yes, Sir Action
this
Slacks is
anime
pretty cool, yeah.
requires a
Yes.
bit of context before you get into it fully. So do
Not
get yourselves-
really. You can still.
Yeah, not
enjoy it
really.
without
Yeah, you
knowing
still
it.
enjoy it as it is. Yeah. You don't need to explain the whole
absolutely.
history.
Well, yeah.
But yeah.
Sid.
So, initially I was very excited for it because I do love the game, even though I haven't played it in a while because,
Already got
it's
him.
too
That
addicting.
was recorded. That was recorded.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, go on.
I was, my god, just because I try not to play. It's very addicting, so I try not to play it, but I do love the game. And I was very excited to watch it. Like, we were waiting. We were like, oh my god, it's going to be fun. Like, I saw it in a day, so I still finished the whole thing. While working, I was watching it distracted. I was like, let's see what's going on here. I can finish work after 2 episodes and 3 and 4 and suddenly after 8 episodes. So initially I was kind of disappointed, because I understand like Studio Mir is an amazing studio. They made stuff like Korra and everything, and they did pretty good animation. But somehow in the beginning, I don't know if you'll agree with me, it looked a little choppy for some reason. I don't know why. The animation looked quite choppy to me, even though the illustrations are like really well done. The character styles do look similar to those of like Korra and like the Avatar universe, but it's still like different. But yeah, the animation kind of seemed choppy and it seemed to disconnect me from the show. And
That's a
in the
similar
beginning,
problem I had when I watched Korra first. It seemed very choppy for me,
exactly.
and it took me a while to get used to it as well. So yeah, it kind of makes
Took a
sense.
while to get used to it. Yeah. And so I was, and like even the storyline, I wasn't as invested in it, because like like you guys know, I'm not a big fan of like fantasy settings. I don't watch a lot and consume a lot of fantasy stuff, but I still do like Dota, so I did watch it because of that. And I was still following it. It didn't like blow my mind, but I still had like fun watching it, especially like towards the ending, which we'll talk about. I started enjoying it more as it ended, and I think it'll get better as more seasons and books come. So like new viewers should definitely check it out. But it was a little this, in my opinion, it was a little weak for me in the beginning. That's what I'll say.
Sid is actually missing out on the most important point of everything we had in our preliminary discussions after watching the show, which is he said something that I never thought he would say. To give you a little bit of context, anytime you ask Sid about Dota, he says, "Trash game, I'm never playing that game again.
Yeah.
Trash game, oh, I hate it."
Of course.
And as you heard just a little while ago, he claims to love it. So what's going on? So the thing is, Sid loves and hates the game. He loves it because it's so good, but he hates it because it makes him waste all his time away
Exactly.
in it. So he pretends to hate it on a general
Yes,
basis.
it works.
But this anime, despite what he just said about how he wasn't very happy with it, made him want to play the game
Yes.
immediately.
I messaged you guys and I was like, damn, I hate this show. It makes me want to play Dota again. I hate this shit. Remember?
Yes, exactly. So that is monumental, because if it can make Sid a player who
Actively
who
tries
has
to turn
incredible
himself away.
self-restraint when it
Yeah.
comes to coming back to this game, yeah. When he tries not to come back to the game, if it makes him want to play, that means any player who left the game for any reason is immediately going to come back for sure. Because if
For
Sid
sure.
can come back, believe me, anyone can come
Yes,
back.
we are playing after this.
Yes.